Hello, Earthlings. March 7th, Thursday. In my world, Monday. So it's about 9:30 a.m. Heading into work. Thought I would check this out again, see if I could say anything enlightening. Anyway, let's look at what's going on news-wise. I guess we get as they say, the worst or best of two evils. It looks like we're going to have a Biden-Trump race, which is not a shocker to anybody, but I don't understand why we can't get some capable people that are younger in office to run the country. I know a lot of people didn't really like Vivek Ramaswamy, but, hey, 38 years old, incredibly intelligent, has run several companies well. This idea that we can only have people run the country that have been politicians for 100 years makes no sense to me at all, okay? Originally, I think it was set up so that you did service. You were in service. This isn't like a job. This isn't a career. This was a service. So, you take 4 years out of your life and you dedicate it to your country. That's what I thought this was supposed to be about. Not, let's be the city councilman and then let's work our way up to, assembly person, and then we can do senator, and then we can become governor, and then we can become president. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I think that the whole power thing that happens with politics these days, where you have lobbyists that come in and, they can say they didn't give you anything, but, what about the Swiss bank account? Or, I don't know if you guys ever heard about Mike Gill in the Pandora Papers, but that's definitely something you should check out. I mean, apparently he has the goods on all these politicians, and specifically, where their money went and who paid them and all that kind of thing. So, we all know that this is true. I mean, on some level, I think on a gut level, we all know that all the politicians are corrupt. I mean, to be honest with you, the one guy that I really like that is completely banned from even being able to be anywhere. I mean, they make sure that he's completely closed out or caged up electronically. But, this guy, he's an MIT scholar. The Fulbright scholar, I should say, is what he got, in addition to several PhDs. His name is Dr. Shiva Ayadari, or VA Shiva Ayadari, and he's brilliant. I mean, actually, he's got a whole movement set up now. Health. There it goes. Freedom. My God. Truth, freedom, health. And he's right on the money. His mom used to be this lady that could look at your face and tell you exactly what was wrong with you, and give you ideas about what you could do to improve it. He's into that health thing too. But the main thing is I just want somebody smart leading our country that can speak clearly. I mean, a lot of the things that Robert Kennedy Jr. says, I really agree with, just like with Vivek. And yet, he's been sort of tossed out by the Democrats and thrown into, independence, which, unless you're Ross Perot 40 years ago and have millions of dollars, it's pretty tough. Although I guess, the Kennedys are a pretty wealthy family. So anyway, while it's on my mind, if you get a chance, there's a movie out by a guy named Jay Weidner. Came out, I think, in August of 23, and it's a great movie. I mean, it's basically suggests that the JFK assassination was, this is pretty wild stuff. Basically, that Kennedy had Addison's disease or Addison's disease, some sort of disease, I don't know. But he didn't want to be president. His dad had pretty much propped him up to be president. And anyway, Joe Kennedy used to run alcohol and that sort of thing. So he was kind of a mobster in his own way. And he wanted his son to be president. And, I guess Kennedy had a big blow up on a boat, and his dad helped do the public relations on that. Basically, Camelot was born. And so, I've always thought of JFK as just a great person. But, I know that he had his weaknesses with regards to women. The Secret Service has pretty much spilled the beans on that. But the thing is that, Marilyn Monroe, there you go. So the thing is that, so the story that Jay Widener's telling is basically saying that Kennedy used this device that was used in Hollywood, and few people knew about it, called a squib. Basically, it's just this metal thing that looks like skin on the outside, where another person can pull a string and the squib will explode and make it look like your head blew off. So the thought is that just before his head was blown off, Jackie reached down, his wife reached down in the vehicle right down to where you would pull that string. And so anyway, it's an interesting thing. And then, of course, the fact that she jumped out of the car almost to try to get whatever it was that flew off the back of his head, which was the squib. So she was basically trying to make sure that the evidence was covered up. And then the crazy part about marrying Onassis, I don't know, a big oil tycoon from Greece. I think that was his background. I don't know, maybe he was an arms trader too. But anyway, doesn't matter. She married him. And he has a big island, his own island. And the story goes that Kennedy, basically faked his own death. And basically they switched out a double in the vehicle. They had somebody already dressed up like him in the trunk, already, everything all set up. The guy that had been shot earlier that day by Oswald, supposedly. By the way, we all know now that Oswald was in the CIA, and he was an operative all the way since the U-2 spy plane. So that's just a fact. So clearly, either he was set up as a patsy or he was part of the plan. But anyway, Officer Tibbets is the other person that got shot by Oswald, and Officer Tibbets was the dead ringer for JFK. They used to call him that on the police force. So what a coincidence that Kennedy and Tibbets would die the same day. But anyway, so that's the story. They switched out the bodies, boom, put him there. Kennedy got away, made it so that if the mob did want to kill him, because at the time his brother Robert was basically attacking all the different mobs, which is kind of crazy considering their family's a mob. But anyway, whatever. All I know is that it ended up that he lived supposedly with another woman on the island that Onassis owned, and that was how he kept secret all those years, and that John, his son, could come visit, and it wouldn't be suspicious because the wife would be married to Onassis. So anyway, some people think that, I don't know, Carrie Cassidy thinks that JFK Jr. is posing as a guy named Juan O for Jackie O Savin for a library or something that they have out there. So who knows if it's true. It would be wild if it was true, but I could see that John F. Kennedy Jr. would want to fake his own death, just like I could see that John F. Kennedy father would like to fake his own death. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, when you know that the people are going to try to kill you because you just have all the information about it, then I could see why you would want to stage your own death and make it look like you really did get killed, so that your family would be protected from being killed by the same people, because that's what they do. Anyway, boy, did I go off on a tangent there. What's on my mind? Anything else? So I don't know where this politics is going to go with this. I just hope that I know that Dr. Shiva probably doesn't have a chance because they pretty much control the media. You know, that was interesting in Tucker Carlson's interview with Putin, how, Putin kept sort of implying that Tucker had applied for the CIA but hadn't gotten in. And that was because his parents were also intelligence. So it's just interesting. Shiva's theory is that all of these people like Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and Trump and Biden and on, all these people actually, they appear to be, enemies or on opposing sides or they just are influencers. But they the story goes that they're all sort of part of one group. He calls them the swarm, which kind of sounds kind of, odd. But anyway, sort of Borgish in a way, because I guess what they're saying is just they use these front people to basically manipulate the population to whatever they want them to believe, and then using that working together thing, they're able to accomplish a lot against the whole population. I mean, let's face it, we're in a situation where it's either going to be globalists or it's not, okay? And I don't think it's a done deal yet, I mean, people are pretty darn weak and easily manipulated and a lot more hypnotized than they realize. I mean, people forget a lot of the things that go on are put right in our face. It's almost like it's a rule. If they're going to mess with us, they at least have to tell us that they're messing with us and how. And so, I mean, you look at the word television, tell a vision. Okay, and it changes from that to television programming. Come on now, think about that. Look how obvious that is. So, they've used that as a device. And then, of course, they've admitted in front of the whatever subcommittee in Congress that the CIA has assets in all of the networks or all of the outlets. And what's interesting is that I guess now they have to switch that over to YouTube or to, people like Joe Rogan on Spotify or something like that, to where they can still have some influence over the show or what people think or what's being said. But hey, while it's on my mind, if you get a chance, there's this guy named Patrick Bet David. Okay, he's originally from Iran, I think. Yeah, he came from Iran with his dad and his mom, and military guy, incredibly successful. I mean, lots and lots of money in the insurance industry, made a huge name for himself, and then sold at a great price. And he's making YouTube, a lot of money. Valuetainment is the name of his channel. And if you get a chance, you should check it out. I mean, he has some really interesting guests, and he'll talk to anybody about anything. He had a bunch of mob people on even, and that was probably some of his most popular shows that he had. Another guy, too, that's really interesting. I mean, here's a guy that literally was insane. Okay, he'll even tell you this. Cliff High. And I don't know, he did something with psilocybin or LSD or whatever he did. I don't know exactly what he did, but somehow he was able to heal himself back. And he's brilliant. I mean, he's done a lot of computer programming for the government and a lot of stuff for private companies that was really quite advanced for its day. So he does know programming. And he's having this little battle with Carrie Cassidy, who, hey, I believe in listening to everything, so I listen to a lot of stuff. Carrie Cassidy has this channel called Project Camelot, and I guess, I don't know, if you just look on Rumble, if you go under Project Camelot or Carrie Cassidy. Anyway, she's got interesting guests on, and she's got interesting shows. But Cliff High and Carrie, are kind of in this little quiet war, and Jay Widener, the guy from the JFK documentary that just came out, is in on it too. And basically, they're both programmers, and they tell her that, AI, isn't going to ever be a threat because it would just be, whatever it was programmed with, and then it would just take those patterns and burp them back out accordingly. But it doesn't think for itself, or it doesn't have that kind of control. Interestingly enough, though, that really goes against what Elon Musk has said, which is that it's the biggest threat that we have. And I think there's something to that. I mean, the thing that concerns me is, first of all, you got to figure the most advanced computer stuff would be made by the Defense Department, right? I mean, they're always 20, 30, 50, whatever years ahead. And so, I mean, they would have obviously looked at AI as a way to defend the country or shoot down rockets or whatever. In fact, there was an airplane years ago that flew out of somewhere out of California, and there was a training exercise going on, and the AI, I guess, mistook the airplane that was a commercial aircraft for a bad guy and shot it down in their training drill. And of course they covered it up, and it just said that mysteriously went down. They didn't know how. So anyway, you can look it up. I think it was Flight 103 or something like that. I can't remember, but there's a lot of stuff like that just gets covered up. That's what governments do. And I guess that's my biggest concern. If you go back and you look at Robert McNamara, who was the Secretary of State under John F. Kennedy, he's testified or interviewed the fact that this incident that got us into Vietnam, that's known as the Gulf of Tonkin incident, basically, interestingly enough, if anybody knows who Jim Morrison is, well, his dad worked in the Navy as an admiral, and he was the guy that was manning, interestingly enough, that he was manning this Gulf of Tonkin situation at the time. And that's just the reason that's so significant, is that if that had not happened, we would not have entered the Vietnam War, and 58,000 Americans would not have been killed. By the way, while I'm thinking of it, this fentanyl crisis that we keep hearing about, I've heard that like 50,000 Americans die every year from fentanyl overdose. 50,000. Now maybe it's more, but that's like one Vietnam every year. Think about that. So it's a serious problem, and we need to definitely do something to try to clean that up so that it's not a problem. So hopefully we can do that. But anyway, so where was I? Kind of lost my train of thought there. Almost to work at this point, so I'm not going to be able to stay on much longer. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. A lot of people don't think that we're going to have an election. I know. What? Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess a lot can happen between now and November. That's for sure. A lot of people think that there might be some sort of a fracture in the bond market that leads to some sort of a financial reset. It's really hard to say. Stock market went down. I know Jeff Bezos, and the story, at least that we're being given, the narrative, is that Jeff Bezos and Gates and all those people were buying up a lot of land and a lot of houses, and basically they've sold a lot of their stock. So, I mean, the message seems to be that, something imminent is upon us that might be a financial burden. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Before an election, they usually prop everything up so that everybody's like, oh, everything's great. So we'll see. Anyway, you have a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. If you don't mind, I know if you've gone this far, thank you for even putting up with it. But if you've gone this far, could you please hit the like button. I need to get at least, a couple more subscribers just so this doesn't look so ridiculous. So I'm going to keep making these things whether I have a subscriber or not. I've already put $319 into Fiverr, so way more than I should have, but I was just irritated about being able to make a thumbnail and get this thing uploaded. So I'm about simplicity, and I don't have a webmaster like Carrie Cassidy or these people that help them. I need to get that, though. I'm going to find a computer person that I can deal with that understands the stuff and that can actually either show me how to do it easily or preferably hands-on also be able to do it. So anyway, thought I'd give you an update on that. It's been a little stressful to get these out. They want to put them out in threes or something, so oh joy. Anyway, I will talk to you later, and you have a great day. Hopefully I'll be able to get this turned off.